Mike Johnson just threw Donald Trump under the bus, and I am surprised it took this long. Now we all know that MAGA Mike is just a puppet of Donald Trump, and the only job he really has is to protect his majority in the House for Donald Trump. But how is he going to do that if Donald Trump keeps doing Donald Trump things, saying that he loves inflation, attacking Republican voters, and continuing his idiotic war on Iran? And that right there is what Mike Johnson just had to break with Trump on and threw him under the bus. Because why wouldn't you? This is going to cost Mike Johnson his majority, and it absolutely should. And Donald Trump continuously lying about the war on Iran certainly will not help his case. So Mike Johnson accidentally let some truth slip on Fox, and we are going to get into that moment. But I want to start with the context of what is undeniable context of this war that was actually brought up by our friend Jessica Tarloff on Fox, the only person who speaks truth to power on that network for propaganda. And if you want to support our work, of course, calling out the propaganda at Fox alongside Jessica as much as we can do, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. But before we get to Mike, let's start with what he's dealing with, what Jessica called out right here.
That would be as enthusiastic about the current conditions. And there are two of them sitting to his left who didn't have the same kind of appraisal. It was funny about the straight Ayatollah. We do agree to disagree. Listen, I'm sure that decapitation sounds the same as decimation, obliteration, and total destruction, which are other things that President Trump has said are going to rain down on the Iranians. The bridge and power plant days, their navies sunk, their armies obliterated, whatever it is, the art of the deal has not gotten us particularly far at this point. And when the president comes out yesterday posting on Truth Social, the Iranian leadership is unbelievably duplicitous. Duh. Everybody knows that. And you are the one who keeps pushing it as maybe they send you a text, a WhatsApp, a Signal chat, whatever it is, saying we'd like to come back to the table. And then they get another few days and then another few days. And if they get really lucky, then they get to sell their oil on the open market for a couple of weeks, make a ton of money. Our oil prices go down. You're thrilled about $78. I remember when you bragged in my face that it was at $70. So guess what? It's ticking back up.
Still pretty good.
Okay. You want to dismiss this report in Reuters about the fact that we have used virtually all of our long-range precision missiles in the war. I have been told before that every leak is a lie and I'm a traitor and everyone who says those kinds of things is going to jail for treason or whatever. There are so many of these leaks that have come to fruition, dating back to The Atlantic, where I think it was from J.D. Vance or J.D. Vance's team that said that we are concerned about the amount of long-range missiles that we have and our ability to carry this out and also defend our allies and the rest of the world when China is looking at Taiwan, licking their lips.
We haven't even borrowed from Asia.
Then
we haven't even borrowed from Europe.
Okay.
Why are you acting like we're running out of weapons? That's like Kentucky running out of bourbon.
Or horses, Jesse.
It's never going to run out of weapons.
The Kentucky Derby without racehorses.
I don't.
And I would just like, real quick,
Kentucky
I'm sorry.
has a lot of
I don't have a problem with what the president's doing. No problem. I think the reason why he's slowed up is because he's worried about peace and the American people's opinions first.
Yeah, he's also the guy who said, I don't care about the midterms. I'm going to do what has to be done. So now he's just changed his mind.
I appreciate that.
Okay.
Sending troops in is a lot bigger
There
than
is also the story about CENTCOM sending out an email to a broad group of military analysts last week saying, we're looking for new and creative and unconventional ways to pressure and punish Iran. Because what we are doing is not working.
It is a war we are very publicly and very badly losing. And Donald Trump can lie as much as he wants about how, quite frankly, we're so close to winning. And they're begging to make a deal. And there's gonna be a deal. And we love the deal. And they love the deal. When's the deal coming? I don't know. He can do that as much as he wants. It is a lie that he is bad at telling. But a truth he can't avoid is prices are higher. They will only continue to go up. And you have to interact with that every single day. Now, Donald Trump doesn't, and he doesn't care about those high prices, which is exactly why Mike Johnson, when confronted with them, didn't know what to say and had to throw Donald Trump under the bus. Mike Johnson hurls blame Trump's way as he struggles to defend himself on the Fox propaganda outlet. House Speaker Mike Johnson told Fox viewers on Saturday they should blame their economic woes on Donald Trump's war with Iran. Johnson appeared on Saturday in America with Kelly McEnany to defend his party as a growing number of conservatives say they blame Trump for the nation's worsening economic conditions. We put in this Congress into place all the economic conditions to let the country take off like a rocket, Trump said. Then we got into a conflict with Iran. That's the big headwind we have. We got into a conflict with Iran. It's a little bit of passive language there, Mike. How did that conflict start? Because if I remember correctly, it was your president doing it without Congress. So he's kind of just saying the quiet part out loud under unusual circumstances. Blaming the war for economic woes would have also implicated Congress, but Trump didn't seek congressional approval. Despite Iran's vow Saturday that it would continue to enforce its blockade on the Strait of Hormuz until Trump gave up his delusions. Johnson claimed the conflict would end soon, and then gas prices and grocery prices would return to planet Earth. Viewers of this exchange were stunned. Johnson would so blatantly cast blame on Trump, even if he didn't mention his name? Did Mike Johnson just admit on Fox that Donald Trump's war fucked up their own economic plans? Someone else wrote. Johnson suddenly admitting, "It's Trump's fault the economy is in the shitter." Oh, it's the war. That's not a war's fault. Weird. Trump supporters in Florida would agree with Johnson's assessment. According to recent reporting from the Bulwark Sarah Longwell in her interview with Trump's 2024 supporters, they frequently slapped him with a C- grade or less and cited the economy and the war as reasons why we really need to be focused more on the economy and getting gas prices down. One voter said he keeps saying it's going to happen, but it hasn't yet. Johnson, for his part, said during the interview that such voters shouldn't expect handouts anytime soon. Great job selling a mic. Johnson is obviously trying to create more than just a little bit of distance between what is happening in the Republican Congress and, of course, the White House, because he doesn't want voters to blame Republicans for falling in line with Donald Trump when they go to the ballot box in November, right? This election, these midterms, are going to be a referendum on Trump. Mike Johnson doesn't want that. He wants you to be distracted with lies about trans athletes or Hassan Piker just having a podcast. Oh, so scary, so bad. It's like, shut the fuck up. The way these people talk about Hassan is just blatantly ridiculous. But Mike Johnson, you cannot make that case when you follow everything that Donald Trump does. But sure, I guess he is going to suddenly try to throw Trump under the bus and say, not our fault, not our problem. Please elect Republicans back to Congress. Although all we do is, rubber stamp Donald Trump's agenda completely, and if we wanted to stop this war, we could. And on the prices, I find it so ridiculous that as we are seeing, billions of dollars in tariff refund checks go to corporations who pass the bill on to us. Mike Johnson is making this claim that prices will come down. Corporations do not bring their prices down. They are greedy and unregulated. They will continue to charge us more just because things get cheaper. And energy is cheaper doesn't mean it will get cheaper for us. They will just see it as an opportunity to go, profits are nice and fat. Let's keep that going, right? During COVID, when there were supply line issues, what happened? Corporations that didn't need to raise their prices, saw everyone else doing it, went, it seems like a good idea. Maybe we should do it too. Make a little extra money because that's all they care about. They're serving their shareholders. It's why we should not allow this to happen. Needs to be banned. We need to completely outlaw these price gouging efforts. It is ridiculous and absurd, but what is Mike Johnson saying? Nope. The government's not going to step in. That's a really compelling case, Mike.
And you're having trouble with healthcare and you feel failed by the economy. What is the Republican alternative to the socialists, which might be alluring to someone who doesn't have the education about its failure?
Well, the answer is not to turn everything over to the government, because that never works. That drives prices up. It leads to famine. It leads to human suffering and poverty for everyone. The answer is limited government and individual freedom and the rule of law.
It's really funny how Fox at this point, they're not necessarily trying to speak on behalf of young people. Fox does not have an audience with any young people in it, but they're trying to set Mike Johnson up to give a good answer and be like, how are you going to help young people? Just say anything, even lie. We don't care. And Johnson just goes, well, the government isn't about doing big things unless those big things are building ballrooms or, directing as much money as possible to Donald Trump. It's like, you're in charge of the government. don't ask more of the government. You're saying, don't ask more of you. And it's funny. This is kind of in contradiction to what J.D. Vance recently said on Fox, which I found laughable.
And my warning to my fellow Republicans, Will, would be if we don't get this right, don't blame young people for being sympathetic to socialism. We've got to blame ourselves. And I think what is so unique and refreshing about Donald Trump's economic policies is that it's not the same old economic, ideas that you would have heard 30, 40 years ago. He's talking about rebuilding our industrial base, rebuilding the heartland, making our streets safer, making it possible for young people to afford to buy a home. This is how you stop socialism. You don't stop socialism by throwing slogans at people about the free market. As much as I love the free market, you stop socialism by making people's lives better.
I love the framing here from Vance. It's so funny. We have to stop people from wanting the scary socialism in which the government does things to protect them, by doing things to protect them. Or you could just do things to protect us, and make our lives better. But this government doesn't want to. They could if they wanted to, and yet they don't. But saying that, we are going to stop people from wanting socialism by making the government work. Yes. On what social programs? Socially. This is what it is. They're so out of touch. They're so idiotic. It is just shocking that fucking morons across America can vote for these people. But there are plenty of morons across America who trust this guy on his analysis of the war.
Beginning, we projected 4 to 5 weeks, 2 months. And you know what? We're going to have victory very shortly. 4 to 6 weeks, and I was right.
Donald Trump, if he couldn't just make up dates, what was that movie with Jim Carrey? Liar? Liar where he, couldn't tell a lie? If Donald Trump had a spell cast on him in which he couldn't just, make up numbers and say, well, it's 2 weeks, or it's $20 trillion. Or if Donald Trump could never give fake numbers, if he could never say a fake number in his entire life, would he be mute? I feel like all he does anymore is just say, well, it'll happen at this date, and it never does, or we're getting this amount of money and we don't, or we're going to spend this or build that. It just doesn't come. All he does is lie. We know this well. We are going to continue to call it out on this show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video. If you stuck around at the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.